hard for me to end this topic because I don't have clarity in it. But let's review as follows. Why is everyone sitting so separate? You're making me scream. Come closer. Let's just go over the Roshei Perakim, which are very, very important for the words of the Nefesh Hachaim. Firstly, the first big chiddush here is that there is no such thing as an Aveira Lishma nowadays. The Gemara says, Gadol Aveira Lishma, Mitzvah Shalei Lishma. Usually the Gemara is telling us halacha. So the Vilna Gaon says that it's not a halacha because there has to be two conditions for Aveira Lishma. Aveira Lishma means I'm doing the wrong thing for the right reason. Only two ways to do that: either Kodem Matan Torah or Hatzalas Klal Yisrael. If the whole Klal Yisrael is being saved by doing this, that's Aveira Lishma, and that's mutter. The Gra says, I just wanted a drop of a nibuk. This is Reb Chaim Volozhin brings it in the Keser Rosh, and Reb Zundel Bisalat brings it. I saw he brings the lashon also. It's almost the same lashon from the Gra. That is that once the Torah was given, so what would be the purpose of the Torah? What would be the purpose of the Torah if you don't have to keep it because I'm doing something lishma? Whereas every time I'm doing something lishma, it's mutter. If I'm doing something shalei lishma, it's aser. So what do we need the Torah? Just look at if it's lishma or if it's not lishma. So if every maisa has the maisa and the intention of the story. So the intention of my maisa. So if the intention is good, it's mutter. If the intention is not good, it's aser. So what do you need the whole Har Sinai for? What do you need the whole Torah mitzvahs for? So before Matan Torah, before there was Torah mitzvahs, so we could say Yaakov Avinu married two sisters. There was no Torah, even though, as Nefesh Hachaim explains it, he understood intuitively that this is good for the soul, this is not good for the soul. But he was entitled to work with his intentions of lishma or not lishma because it wasn't constitutionalized. What does it mean when something becomes? This is the body of law, canonized. Not sure. I was going to say that, but I'm not sure. Canonized means this is the official text. But I'm saying once it's the law, it's the law. So nobody's asking any more questions any longer, right? Codified. That's the halacha. That's the halacha. I'm just saying even in modern law, you have. I just say as a mashal, Democrats and Republicans in America are screaming at each other. But we need to have a Senate vote. The senators are screaming at each other. The Senate votes. The Democrats lose. They're still screaming at each other. Like, what's the point? Then what did you have to vote for? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, they didn't vote good. They made a mistake. You're not allowed to say that, right? So what's the lahavdil of Havdalos? Once the Torah was given, we don't have that entitlement anymore. Yael, Esther. So many different cases of people that violate Torah. Hatzalas Klal Yisrael shiny. That's what the lashon of the Gra. Save the whole Klal Yisrael. That's a whole different kettle of fish, and you're allowed to do it. So says the Gra. Here's my question, that which I feel brings into focus this Indian sharply. That there's a klal in Shas that we do say, ad hayom hazeh, and that is, Eis lasis l'Hashem efer Torasecha. So, example, the Gemara has a few examples of this. Probably the most famous example is that Rabbi Yehuda Anasi wrote down the Mishnayos. You're not allowed to write down Torah Sheba'al Peh. Why did he write them? Eis lasis l'Hashem efer Torasecha, as a pasuk in Tehillim, by the way. Kufyud Tes, under Ayin. So there, David HaMelech says, Eis lasis l'Hashem hefer Torasecha. The Gemara darshans, Reb Nosson darshans in a number of places, Gittin Daf Samach and Sanhedrin. The Gemara darshans that Eis lasis l'Hashem, sometimes you have to do something for Hashem, and heferu Torasecha, just Don't keep the Torah. Eliyahu Navi was on Har HaKarbel, debating, so to speak, with the Nevi'ei Habal, and he brought karbanos, and he said, my karbanos, right, Aleini Hashem Aleini, my karbanos will be miskabel. The whole thing was usher. The Beis HaMikdash was standing in Yerushalayim. Once the Beis HaMikdash was standing, the Bais Rishon was there, and with all the tzaras of Klal Yisrael, the Beis HaMikdash was there. They were bringing karbanos. So what's he being makriv on Har HaKarbel? Shchutei chutz, Isser Babais, everything was wrong. But he was fighting with the Nevi'ei Abal. So since he was fighting with the Nevi'ei Abal, he reckoned that it's okay to do this because I know I'm doing a chet, but I'm doing it l'shem shamayim. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi much later, after the Bayis Sheni, Eis Lasis Lashem, Efer Teresecha. Rus, Boaz says, Yivarechecha Hashem. He says to the Kaitzrib, Yivarechecha Hashem. So the Gemara wants to know, how is he allowed to throw the Shem Hashem out every time he's greeting somebody? So the Gemara says, Eis Lasis Lashem, Efer Teresecha. And therefore we say Shalom Aleichem. It's a big Indian to be makdim Shalom to everybody, even though Shalom is the name of Hashem. When you say Shalom Aleichem, it be God be with you. So it doesn't mean just peace. It means so many things. Shalom, right? It has a lot of different. So this is a cloud that we do say. Ad hayom hazeh. How do I know Ad hayom hazeh? I mean, I'll give you an example. The Rambam says in Hilchos Talmud Torah, Perakim, the Rambam says that you're not allowed to take money for learning Torah. Okay, break the Kesef Mishnah, so close every kollel according to the Rambam. Like what are they learning in kollels? The Rambam. So what's the like? How do you have such a thing as institutionalizing the Limud Torah and getting paid for it? Okay, so you can make trays, but that's the Kesef Mishnah doesn't make a tray. He says that the Rambam is correct, but Kivin Shira, Gedolei Hadar, it's Lashon of the Kesef Mishnah, Perakim B'Talmud Torah. Kivin Shira, Gedolei Hadar, Sha'atorah Mishtakachas B'Yisrael, since the Gedolei Hadar said that the Torah is being lost from Klal Yisrael, whenever that was exactly, but it was probably around the time of the Spanish Inquisition and the expulsion. He said that the Torah was lost, so they said, take money for learning. That's the Lashon of the Kesef Mishnah. Shulchan Aruch. Kesef Mishnah wrote the Shulchan Aruch.
All the examples are already brought, there would be otherwise a permanent damage to the Klal Yisrael. So why is that not considered a Hatzalas Yisrael? If we didn't write down the Mishnayos, then we would lose. We would have a hefsid in Klal Yisrael in the Torah Chabad. If we didn't, all these examples be the same thing.
So, well, here's the thing.
That's not considered a Hatzalah.
The spiritual Hatzalah.
Yeah.
That's a spiritual Hatzalah, which we don't have a precedent for. So a rabbi gets up and he says, you know what, I'm going to tell the people to drive to Shul on Shabbos because it's better for me, it's better for Yiddishkeit, it's better for everything, better for God, if people drive to the synagogue on Shabbos than they drive to the movies or they go to eat treif or they even sit at home and watch television. This is better. I know that they're coming here and they're going to, they're going to hear my sermon, and they're going to meet other Jews, and possibly they'll marry each other. I know this is a good thing. By the way, very difficult argument very difficult to argue with that. You said but is that Aver Lishma, or is that Eis Lasas Lashem, or is that Hatzalas Klal Yisrael, or is it none of the above and therefore Aser? Well, let's throw that out there. But I'm saying, halacha is it's aser. But the point I'm making is that we see that even the gra would have to be maskim to the idea that Aver Lishma is no longer said. Period. It's gone. But Eis Lasas Lashem, we find Ad Yameinu. Because the Kesef Mishnah says Ad Yameinu. It's barely, this is not hefker, that like after the Holocaust, when we lost so many Gedolim and Tzadikim and Talmidei Chachamim and even Svarim were burnt that we don't have copies of. So the Gedolei Adar said, so everybody should sit and learn for a couple of generations and restore something of what we had. And by the way, it's worked. It's worked. I mean, the amount of Torah that there is now in Klal Yisrael is, I'm not one to judge, but it might have even surpassed. I mean, it's just amazing, the Gedolim that we've read. If not for Kollels, there wouldn't be not a Rav Shach and not a Rav Moshe Shapiro and not any pick your Gedolim. It all came out of Kollel. It's not it didn't come, there weren't people learning on the side. So there would be a Chazon Ish, like all of these. So that's the Eis Lasis Lashem Efer Torah Secha was a monumental movement of Kollel. You can argue, okay, now we're how many generations must speak? Now there's a lot of Torah. Now there's 1 million people at Siyum HaShas. So this is where the Gedolim have to paskin that Adkan. Eis Lasis Lashem. I don't know. But what is one thing different than the other? That's what I want to ask. I don't have a philosophical debate. I'm just asking a lumdisha question. What's the difference between Aver Lishma, Aser, Eis Lasis Lashem, Mutter, and recommended? That's my question. It's a lumdisha question, so give me a lumdisha answer. Go. It is now time to do for Hashem, forget your Torah, forget the mitzvahs, forget the Torah. Hey, Feru, Teresech. Look how easy it is. I mean, that Boaz said, Shavuos time we have to darshan this. Boaz said it's so important to spread around the name of Hashem, Yivarechecho Hashem, and say Shalom Aleichem to Nachayid, that Hefer Teresecha, we're going to say Shem Hashem. Who says the Shem Hashem? We're going to say the Shem Hashem, like without even, saying hello? That's Shmuel's Chiddush, but I mean, who says that's Hatzal's Klal Yisrael? He just thought it was the right thing. And what's it different than everything is Hatzal's Klal Yisrael? So Yaakov Avinu married 2 sisters, Hatzal's Klal Yisrael. So that continues. What's the Vilna Gaon is making a distinction between before Matan Torah, after Matan Torah. What is the difference?
The example of writing down Mishnayos or learning from
Hatzal's Klal Yisrael.
Different than Boaz, because it was. Was it that it
in Ruchnius. Eis Lasis Lashem Efer Torah Secha. I mean, the Chiddush is it's Ruchnius. In other words, Ruchnius. It's a different thing. Like you want to preserve the Torah. So Eis Lasis Lashem is always. Let me ask you a question. Belazai says a drasha. Kol she'eloi oisek bepru ervu bepiri of erivya ki ilu shoifech damim. Belazai's memra. So the Gemara says to him, right, shoifech damim. If you don't know oisek bepru ervu. So his chaverim said to him, Ben Azai yesh no doiresh v'no makayim ata no doiresh zokst gut. But Edo Bekayim, you yourself don't get married. So he says, Ma Esa, it's a very interesting lashon. Ma Esa, what should I do? Nafshi Choshka B'Torah. It's very interesting. I just love Torah so much. I can't get married. I'm not marriageable. I'm not for that. He was married at one time. He was married to Rabbi Kiva's daughter. But he said, it's not for me. Lo b'shvili, I need to learn Yom V'Layla, and he did. I mean, obviously he did. But it's interesting, Ha'ara, why he didn't just say, but as I shiny. Like if you're learning Torah, Kol Al Yom and Kol Al Layla, that's different than you don't have to do the mitzvah purva with Shoifech Damim. That's for Balabatim. But for me, huh? Shim Bar Yochai, but that's right. Rav Shim Bar Yochai said, comes out of the cave, and he says, he sees people doing normal things, and he says, Dasha b'shas disha, koitzrid b'shas ksira, everyone's doing their farming and they're keeping their season. Torah b'ta he'alav. Do you notice that all of these things are a question? In other words, Rav Shim Bar Yochai didn't say a psak. Stop farming, usher. He didn't even say it's a mitzvah to learn. He asked a question. Be medayik of this. Torah b'ta he'alav. Yeah, I hear. I mean, Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, holy man. I hear, but what's going to be with Torah? Like I have a question here. Torah b'ta he'alav. Ben Azai, what does he say? Ba'esa. What am I going to do? Like, I'm not arguing with your din. Do you understand where I'm going here? I'm not arguing with the din. The din is the din. And takaki will show you like I'm an oinus of some sort.
Rabbi Yaakov, when he asked him a question, why do you kill Shem? They also answered,
Oh, so kasha. We had a dilemma. No, I've medayik this in 8 or 9 places that I found that it's going with a. Even Rebbe said v'nimsa. He says if we're going to keep with the halacha of not writing down Torah Shabbat Peh, gives a whole cheshbon of what's going to happen. V'nimsa sha'Torah b'shtakachas b'Yisrael. That's a chayskum, like a bad result. So let me just, by the way, I'm not sure I know the answer to this, but it's a good kasha. I'm telling you, it's a good kasha. Like, what's the difference between Averu Lishma Aser, according to the Shita de Gra, and I looked, I saw in your day, the Pesach Tshuva also brings the Noida B'Yehuda, which was the same thing as the Gra. That there's no such thing as Averu Lishma B'Zman as that. So forget it. It's just an academic study. But yes, we do say, clearly, we do say, Ada Yarbazah. I think every Rosh Yeshiva paskins Zeis Lasei Slashem Efer Torah Sech. I think so. I think it's a.
Could part of the chiluk be like by Yael? It's Miyar Vel Yava, so it's Muhammad. So you need Berel Shema for something which is Akka Zay Chama.
Ki ilu Shofech Damim, Ben Azai says.
But that's not Yar Vel Yava.
What, Shofech Damim?
No, but not getting married is not Yar Vel Yava.
So you're saying it only works for smaller problems? You're taking it the other way around. You're saying the opposite of you. Not for Hatzolos Klal Yisrael. That's not the chiluk. The chiluk is, so, okay, what was Rabbi Over already?
Losing Torah in Israel is a small problem. Losing Torah in Israel could be a small problem.
No, he's saying the opposite. The opposite. Writing down Torah Shabbat Peh is a knappa problem. It's not such a big avera. That's what you're saying. You're saying it's not such a big avera. Now, we don't know what's a big avera, what's a small avera, but clearly killing people is a bigger avera, right? That's your... The reason is it's compelling, yeah, definitely compelling. Hatzolos Klal Yisrael is compelling, writing down the Mishnayos is compelling. It's all very good reasons. Let me just, to make this a little bit more complicated. Let's read you this Rambam that came to mind this morning. The Rambam's at Hilchos Mamrim Perak Beis, Halacha Daled. Yesh lebeis din laker aftervarim. He's going on before lefi shah. Their beis is a lot of times allowed to be ba'akir halacha. They're allowed to say, don't keep this halacha. So let's go. Ibro lefi shah, says the Rambam. If a beis din, so a beis din sees lefi shah, levatel mitzvahs essay, or laver al mitzvahs leis essay. The Beis Din feels that the correct thing now to do is skip that mitzvah or do that avera. Doesn't say which avera. For what purpose? Kidei lahachzir rabim ladas. In order to bring people closer to Yiddishkeit. Or lahatzil rabim mi Yisrael. So here you have it. 2 dinim. Hatzolos physical or spiritual. Is that the right way? Am I reading it right? Either kedei lahachzir rabim ladas, or lahatzil rabim b'Yisrael. No, I'm wrong. Bili kashel b'dvarim acherim. I'm saving people from doing chet. I'm sorry, it's a mistake. Oisen, so the Beis Din does l'fi ma shehasha tzricha. They do whatever the time necessitates. The whatever the moment requires. You can't make this up. It's a Rambam. It's a Rambam. Based it. Listen to it. Says the Rambam. Unusual, I think, for the Rambam. Gives a mashal. Kishem shahar roife chaytech yadoi oy ragloi sholzeh. Now he goes to the doctor. He wants to get better. What does he do? He cuts off his foot. Chops off his hand. Kidei sheyichye kuloi, so that he can continue to live. Kach Beistin, the same thing as with Beistin, Morin Bisman Milazmanim. Every once in a while they can say a psak, Lavar al mixas mitzvahs lefisha, that don't do these mitzvahs, be over on the mitzvahs, Kidei sheyiskaimu kulan, so that all the mitzvahs can be kept.
Sounds like driving to shul.
Yep. Kidei she'amru chachamim, kederech she'amru chachamim harishonim. And this is what the chachamim harishonim, what he means is Chazal say, Chalel alav Shabbos achas kidei sheyishmor Shabbosos harbe. Now, first of all, I just want to validate myself here for a second, because I said last week, if you recall, I said, well, every time a Hatzalah gets a call on Shabbos morning, which seems to be the minhag in this shul, the whole shul starts ringing at some point. So they run out, rightfully so, that's the halacha, rightfully so that they have their phone, correctly so that they run out, and they get into a car, and they drive, and they do whatever they have to do, and it's mitzvah kav. So I said that seems like it's an aver lishma, and you said that's not aver lishma. That's Shabbos. Like that's how you do shmir Shabbos, right? Is that what you said? You remember? That's what you said. That's shmir Shabbos. That's what Shabbos is. So I'm just that's the halacha. That's a halacha in Hilchos Shabbos. Koch Nefesh doiches Shabbos, but which means it's not Hilchos Shabbos. Koch Nefesh takes over from Shabbos. But I just want to validate myself by saying that the Rambam doesn't say that. The Rambam doesn't say this halacha. He says sometimes, just like you're amputating a leg to save a person's life, you're allowed to be Mechal Shabbos. Same thing. Kidei sheyishmor Shabbosos harbe. In order to be able to have, in other words, they're looking at the big goal. The big goal is that Shabbos should be a thing, and if Shabbos should be a thing, so let's be Mechal Shabbos to make Shabbos into a thing. So what is that? So you're right. Sounds like driving to shul on Shabbos, and we're against that. But what that is it? So first of all, driving shul, put this aside for a second. What's he saying, that you're allowed to do an aver l'shma? Is he arguing with the Gra?
Make a different cheshbon. Look at a broader picture. So by helping this person to live, so they're going to do Shabbosos, they're going to have Dorei Doros that will also do Shabbos. So we look at the broader picture, there's more Shabbos coming out of it.
Which is what an aver l'shma is. That's exactly what an aver l'shma is. An aver l'shma is, I'm sitting back and I'm saying, you know what, I could be makbid right now on this avera here, but if I just get rid of the avera, I know there will be generations of people if I allow this. Now, I'm not saying that Rabbi Joe or Rabbi John are permitted to paskin this, so that's a different issue. Or you qualified? Maybe you have to be qualified. Maybe you need a beis din. Okay, so I'm not. But I'm not talking politics here. I'm just saying, well, what's right and what's wrong. But I'm just saying, aver l'shma is wrong. Here's my point. Eis lasa is right. Ben Zoma was okay. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai was okay. And the Rambam paskins that the beis din could come along and say that we don't do this mitzvah now. Which the beis din, does the beis din say today to thousands of people, like, don't work for Parnasa? That's okay. Gedolim are allowed to say such a thing. We can't criticize that. They're allowed to say such a thing, and they were right. So let's talk about Chizkiyahu. Very important. So, story of Chizkiyahu, tzaddik. Chizkiyahu was a tzaddik. Roy Chizkiyahu liyos Mashiach. He was a Mashiach, kilu. And he said, he was sick, and he said he's not having children because he sees Baruch HaKodesh, which came from a good source. He didn't see it he didn't go to a fortune teller. He saw for Baruch HaKodesh that he's going to have Menashe. And Menashe killed Talmidei Chacham, thousands and thousands of Talmidei Chacham. Menashe was horrible. So he says, what do I want to bring that into the world for? Parentheses, that's what Abram said to Yocheved.
Is there a difference between being mechazek Torah and preventing something negative from
Okay.
happening?
Hold the thought for a second. Let's get the question. Yeshayahu admonishes him. Beisval tichya, you lost your chelik in olam haba. Let's look at the lashon. Be very careful here with the lashon. Bahadi, this is the words of Yeshaya according to the Gemara. Bahadi kafshe derachmana labalacha. Bahadi kafshe derachmana labalacha. Like translation, please. Yeshaya's words. I'm sure those were his words. He probably talked to Hebrew. But bahadi kafshi derachmana labalacha. Somebody knows the words? Mead? Why are you being kovesh the Torah labalacha? Another question. Bahadi kafshi derachmana.
Why is it your business?
What's translation?
What is it to you? Why is it to you? Why is it important to you? Why are you making?
Because he sees Ruach HaKodesh. What would we do? You see Ruach HaKodesh, so you're creating murder in the world, and riches in the world. So what kind of question is that? Bahadi kafshi? What level? I can explain to you. Is it Aver? So it's an Aver. I mean, all he wanted to do was fulfill a Rambam. So look at the situation here. Ben Azai, as far as he knows, is going to have children that are tzaddikim and tzidkanias, and is going to create. There would be a whole Azai family today. We would all be Ben Azai. The thousands of people would be Ben Azai, Loimdei Torah, Rosh Yeshivas. But he held back, and that was okay, because Ma'aseh Lafshi Choshke B'Torah. Chizkiyahu says that if I get married, there's going to be murder, there's going to be killing. Yerushalayim. Ultimately, this led, by the way, let's make this very clear. This was the Chorban Bayis Rishon, because what happened was that he so brought Avodah Zarah and Ritzicha into Eretz Yisrael here that nobody could fix it. There was Chizkiyahu was a beautiful time in Klal Yisrael. But Menashe's time was a terrible time, and his son was a terrible time, and even Yoshiyahu tried to fix it. At the end, wasn't matzliach in fixing it. Hence, there was a chorban. So what happened was, I don't want to get married because I'm going to make the chorban bayis rishon. In Yeshayahu Meisvel Tichya. For this, you lose your proportion of Haba. So I am confused. I mean, Elocha Averu Lishma, he has a Rambam, such a clear Rambam. Hashem, everything is so clear. So there needs to be a serious touch. Now, what was your answer?
The difference is that the cases where they're doing it is to the Chazak Torah. Here it was to avoid Torah being destroyed. So it might be a difference between
Just be where was it, B'chazak? Where was it?
Rabbi writing down.
Rabbi was allowed to write down the Torah.
People learning from him to the Chazak Torah. So you say, Esau says Hashem.
That's good. Yeah.
But here, it's to prevent negative things from happening. Mishai's answer was that, well, how do you know what's going to happen? The negative thing, the negative nevuah doesn't have to happen. And Menashe did tshuva eventually. Right? You can't start making cheshbonos on the negative. By the way,
Rashi says, I don't have the Gemara in front of me, but Rashi says, Bahadi kafshi derachmana labalacha legaloi soidos haTorah v'leilech bahem. Like, why are you going into the secrets and trying to act accordingly? It's like somebody's acting according to. Rashi says on Chizkiyahu and Yeshayahu. There's a brachas daf yud.
There you have it.
and by the way,
That over here, his whole hanhag is based on a Ruach HaKodesh. It's not the same thing as there's something crisis right now, and it's ba'en. It's really very tangible cheshbon. Over here, it's Ruach HaKodesh, and that's already.
So let's say like this, like
that's a chiluk.
Yeah, like. But I want to understand it. In other words, that what Yeshayahu and Chizkiah, what you say, like, what are you going into? It's like Shlomo HaMelech, like Torah says, Lo Yarba Nashim, and I'll be okay. Like, what are you going into Tamei HaMitzvos? What are you going into secrets? You're going into the wiring where you don't even belong. That's what we're saying. Whereas over here, what the Rambam's talking about
is even more invite from
more rachad. But so there's a Rambam saying that comes to the base to a very practical issue.
Avonos of the world, basically, came
So just say clearly for me. What's the distinction here? That by the case of Chizkiyahu, he was getting into what? Soida Satar. Nevuah.
What's going to be in the future? Like making cheshbonos on the future.
The source.
Predicting what's going to happen.
Let's do this again because I want to be careful. Eliyahu Navi, he wasn't getting involved in the future. The Nevi'ei Abal are going to be Latzech. The whole Klal Yisrael is going to get corrupted. We're all going to become a bunch of Avodah.
It's a current situation.
So a Gadol Adar or a Beis Din is allowed to look at a matzav
It's imminent.
and say, look, this is a very difficult decision, and we're going to have to forego a mitzvah or do an aveira because there's such a thing.
Ace. The time is now.
The time is now. If not now, when? We have to do an aveira. Masha'ekein Chizkiyahu.
Chizkiyahu sounds similar to like the Avos.
You're saying it's a nevuah. That's what you're saying. It's a nevuah.
Yeah, but the Avos behave differently than that. Yaakov cried for Rachel because he saw the horrible. The Shvatim cried on each other's shoulder because they saw the nevuah that there was going to be destruction. But
No, but they didn't do aveiras. We're talking about aveiras.
I know, but they looked past that. They didn't say, okay, we'll stop everything because.
So that's what happened at Matan Torah. In Matan Torah, Bahadi Kafshe the Rahman Allah. Kafshe is a very. Bahadi Kafshe Rahman Allah. What do you say? How do you learn? I don't know. Bahadi Kafshe Rahman Allah is in other words, we have a Torah. If we have a Torah, don't say the Torah is good or the Torah is bad. I don't. By the way, I'm saying these words. I'm saying it over and over again because I'm not sure I understand the distinction as clearly as you do. But it's in other words, the Rambam says that Chilul Shabbos is mutter because it's permitted to look at the bigger picture. Period. Are you allowed to be B'chal Shabbos for somebody who's a Goses, by the way? There's no bigger picture. What are you paskin? Doctor says he has 24 hours to live. His vital signs are failing. Huh? No, but Shabbos is harbe. For sure the halach is you're allowed to be B'chal Shabbos, no question. But the question is, you don't have the svara.
There's two svaras in Chazal, the two makars they talk about that. There's the Chai Ben and the Pasuk and
Chayesha.
then there's Shmar Shabbos Achas, there's Shmar Shabbos Chai.
Yeah, but the Rambam brings this one.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, maybe think, is there a makar in the Torah for any of this? The Khan is looking always for the makar in the Torah for. Why do I have to listen to Rabbanon? Right? Where's the makar in the Torah? I have to listen to the rabbis. So where's the makar in the Torah?
Isn't that's what the Rambam says?
But there is no makar for Shmar Shabbos. There's no pasuk for Shmar Shabbos Achas. Is there? This is like a svara.
It's like a svara of Chazal.
It's a svara of Chazal. Kollel Shabbos Achas Kedei.
But and let me add to you what you're saying. It's an unnecessary svara of Chazal because it would have good enough to say v'chai b'hem. Like what do you need? What do you need the svara of Kollel? But the fact that the Rambam brings it, he doesn't even say v'chai b'hem.
It's a general.
That you're entitled. The Beis Din is entitled. Let's say Gedolim are entitled to look at a bigger picture. So you're understanding.
It's almost like
Vision is not as tangible as a picture, current picture.
It's almost
a vision of a.
So what do you say?
So that's what Rashi's saying. Is you're going to a level which is basically beyond the scope of a picture.
That's not where we belong any longer.
It's not ace.
Oh, but you're saying that's not our. Let me just say, maybe a little bit clear, that there are certain things. I'm sure that's what you mean. I just want to say it about a Haber lashon. There are certain things which are under the jurisdiction of Basar V'Dam and Rabbanim and Beis Din, and there are certain things that are not. The jurisdiction changed b'Matan Torah. Our jurisdiction changed, meaning like Yaakov Avinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, in those years, that was formative years of the Brias Olam, formative years of the Torah. So during that time, the jurisdiction of the Avos and the whole Sefer Bereshis was in a place where they somehow they had a certain entitlement to rewire things and to marry two sisters if necessary or whatever has to be done. That was it. Once you talked about codify, canonize, what it's not that, okay, now we're stuck, our hands are tied. I mean, it is that, but there's a reason for it. The reason is because now we're not formative anymore. This is a fact, this is what Judaism is, and therefore our jurisdiction has become limited. We're no longer messing. So Yeshayahu said to Chizkiyahu, look, your sefer would have worked, 1,000 years ago, but it's not going to work now. It would have worked if Yaakov Avinu would have said the same words as Chizkiah Melech said. It would have been a good thing. Yes, you agree. But now there's a mountain terrace about we're not under the hood any longer. We're not in those. We're not in the back room wiring any longer. Now we're doing it. So what is the jurisdiction? Based in. So based in Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the based in, even Ben Azai. Now we have a different job. Listen, hear me out for a second, please. Just clear the board for a second. Hear me out for a second. Now we have Torah, meaning now we need to preserve that Torah. Everybody heard me? In other words, like now Hashem gave the Torah, now we have a whole new job. Don't write the Torah, don't make mitzvahs, don't be mevatel mitzvahs, but take this thing that I gave you and preserve it. So Ben Azai says, Ma eseh, what am I supposed to do? I'm for this. I'm learning to Rebbe says, what am I supposed to do? The Gedolim said, what are we supposed to do? Like we just, you're right, it's 100% right, Secretary, but our jurisdiction is limited to, it seems to be one major item, even though it's not completely doing it in the Rambam, but one major item, and that is preserving the Torah. Because bitula is el kiyumai. Like I'm not doing it on Veira, I'm not going against the Torah, I'm not outsmarting the Torah. Preserving the Torah and based in can come together and in a very, very difficult situation and have a crisis control meeting and say, Ein Brera, temporarily, we're going to suspend the halacha, let's say, of not taking money for learning Torah. Now, now, again, like you have to ask, when does that expire? What is the ace? It's an interesting question, and does that mean you should tell girls in seminary that it's us or gummer to marry somebody who's not learning Torah all day? I mean, these are like big questions, which I think this is the danger. It's become so mekubal in Klal Yisrael that this is the derech that it becomes like an avera not to do it. That nobody ever said, that it's an avera not to do it. So that's just my ha'ara. But yeah.
Personal learning Torah.
It's how no. I don't think so. Nafshi chashka b'Torah. I don't think that's the right type. Nafshi chashka b'Torah means that there's a certain amount of Torah. My nefesh was made. What is the word? My nefesh was created for Torah and not like that's what I was created for, to preserve the Torah. So I cannot do that. That's
the. Find that he, in other words, is a great Tana, but you don't see him in.
Okay, so we'll have to give a shiur one day, say where we see he did that. But how do you know? I think he did do it because, I mean, I'll give you an example, like Arba Nichnasu Pardes, and Elisha ben Avuya messed up. What did he mess up? He did exactly this. He walked into the circuitry. Yeah, it was katzatz benatias. He walked into the circuitry, but Tatrid Hamalach. The Gemara says all kinds of, like he was playing at a much higher level, if you will, than Ben Azai and Ben Zoyma and even Rabbi Akiva. He was at a very high level, and Ben Azai resisted that. So, like by the resistance of Ben Azai, even though he died from it, but by the resistance of Ben Azai and Ben Zoyma and especially Rabbi Akiva, that Mishnah is so yesodistic in the preservation of the whole Torah. So Rabbi Akiva dichtas v'shalom v'yatza b'shalom. There was a lot to say, but that is the preservation of the Torah in that generation. That generation was a generation. The generation of Ben Azai was a generation that were all giving up Torah because the Asara Eruge Malchus, and because of the Roman Shlita, and how difficult it was to.
But you needed Yeshayahu, like Hiskiah was right. He had a son who was a Russian.
He was right. His Ruach HaKodesh was accurate.
No one can be at a level to match him except for Yeshayahu. But if Menashe wasn't born, you may not have had a Oshiyahu either.
If Menashe was born, there wouldn't have been a Chorban Beis HaMikdash. Maybe.
In the case of Hiskiah, it's true he had a Ruach HaKodesh, but it doesn't mean that he can't. I mean, another 15 years after that, he was given. He could have made a tikkun. I mean, maybe he was saying, in other words,
22 years.
Pardon?
22 years.
Even though he had another extra, even though he had this Ruach HaKodesh, but it doesn't mean that cannot. No, you could do something about it. Maybe he could have been Mashiach, but so it's different.
I just want to say one final thought here. This is a very complicated sugya, I believe, but I think it's probably one of the most fundamental ones in being Orthodox. But Yoshiyahu Gufa, an interesting thing. So what was the story with Yoshiyahu? He was the grandson of Menashe, a tzaddik. They'll say Yirmiyahu said he was a tzaddik, but there was a war between Bavel and Mitzrayim, and they all wanted to use Israel. We spoke about it in the summer, going north, going south, which side should we take? And he said, listen, the Torah says, Lo saver cherev ba'artzachem. Nobody's coming through Israel. You want to go through Saudi Arabia or something. Nobody's coming through Israel. Don't use this land bridge because it's a Mefurish pasuk that says, Lo saver cherev ba'artzachem. The Nevi'im begged him. He was a melech. The Nevi'im begged him, don't worry about that halacha. Don't worry about that halacha. We're telling you, be mevatel this mitzvah. You're gonna die, and there's gonna be a chorban. And he didn't listen to them. No, a mitzvah is a mitzvah. Isn't that interesting? Like that Yoshiyahu was the grandson of Hiskiyahu. And Menashe was the grandson of Hiskiyahu. So he was the grandson of Hiskiyahu. Hiskiyahu said, I'm not going to listen to the Torah because I see there's a Menashe coming. And Yoshiyahu says, I'm not going to make that mistake. I'm going to listen to the Torah and not listen to you, the Navi. I'm going to do the tikkun. And it was wrong. So look at this haloi davar who that Hiskiyahu got in trouble, and Yoshiyahu got in trouble for listening to the Torah. Did I just twist your brains into pieces? I don't know. The Gemara questions that. The Gemara says, was it true? I mean, from his point of view, this was a right arch shoulders, a Beis HaMikdash with a. Yeah. Listen to the Navi. Listen to the Navi who tells you to do an Aveira. No, but if a Navi tells you to do an Aveira, you stone him. If a Navi tells you to do an Aveira, you stone him.
Why didn't you stone him? Why didn't he?
I don't know. Who? Who did you want to get stoned? Who?
You said you stoned the Navi because you do it.
Right.
And that's but the Fisha, Navi can tell you to do it.
Right. So what they were telling him, you're saying that, look, this one time, let the Egyptians come in. Let them come.
So by Sheni is nichra for the same reason. By Zachariah ben Akuz. It's the same idea. He says
Hasidusai.
You wouldn't take the program. They wouldn't kill it.
Okay, so tzarachin a little bit, yeah.
All the examples we're giving were temporary suspensions of the
Ace.
But what Yehuda and Nasi did was permanent. It said you shouldn't write down the Torah.
Yeah, but that's a permanent suspension.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's different than
Right. That's more Hummer than everybody else. Like today, it's a mitzvah to write a sefer. It's a mitzvah to publish a Gemara. All Keneged Halacha.
So Mashiach comes?
What? What are they going to do with my company?